and welcome to my channel, day 2 of Vlogmas. Today, I am doing a sock drawer dive. Try to say that 3 times fast. And kind of going through some of my Christmas socks from years past. Some of them are advent calendar skeins, some are Christmassy color skeins, and I thought I would show off what I've knit over the years. Some of these are really old, some of them not as much. Before I forget, let me show you what I'm wearing. This is the Illuminate pullover by Andrea Mowry. The green is Looking Glass Wool Co., which is a local to me dyer and shepherdess. And the neutral color is Barrett Wool Co. In one of their oatmeal lake colors. Love Barrett Wool Co. Anyway, let me show you some of my socks. So let me show you some of the Advent skeins. This one was a freckled whimsy from a couple years ago. It's held up really well. It looks a lot like the one I am currently knitting, but this one's nice. I try not to say that about all of them, but this is Cozy Knitter, and it's got a little bit of peeling, but also nice and happy colors. This one I do not remember. I looked on my Etsy to try to see, but it's kind of like more of like a moody Christmas skein. I like these as well. Yarn jar. I think this is a sport weight. And super cute. No, I probably should be showing these off a little bit more, but I don't want the video to be 15 minutes long. These ones are a little shorter than I would like for a sock, but they're nice. These are some I think they're opal. I think one of the Hunterwasser, probably mispronouncing that, colorways. I don't think it's officially a Christmas color, but it kind of screamed Christmas to me. These are one of my oldest, most worn pairs of socks, and considering that they actually look pretty to be in pretty good shape, that is one thing I will note between like hand dyed versus like commercial sock yarn is there is kind of a difference of how well they hold up. I have a pair that's kind of a good example of that coming up. These ones are, I think, Smelly yarns. It's a German sock yarn. They are really pretty. I've got a bunch of these skeins upstairs. They're really expensive on Etsy if you try to buy them from someone who's bought them to resell over here. And granted, probably none of this applies anymore with all of the current situation with shipping overseas. But a couple years ago, I went on a German website and was like using Google Translate, and I bought a bunch of skeins on there. And honestly, for a lot of the German sock yarns, buying from either a UK or a German website is honestly a lot cheaper than trying to buy it elsewhere. But this is like a really squishy, thick yarn, so I'm looking forward to making more of these. Another, I don't remember the name of this particular German sock yarn. It's got sparkles, which means it's crunchy, but honestly, they look brand new. And I guess, sorry if I don't know like individual colorway names and stuff, but I figure you could probably go on Etsy and find something that would make your heart happy if you see something that you like for once, especially if they've been in my stash for a long time. They might not be something that's still around. Here are some Knit Picks Felici, and I used to really love Felici, but I felt like over time, like the quality wasn't as good, and I haven't bought Felici in 5 or 6 years, so that might have changed again. But like I felt like there was a time where like the colors kind of faded and like bled, and I don't know. I kept them because they're like happy Christmas socks, and I wear them a couple times a year. But I will say that about some of the Felici socks. You can tell like they're kind of felted in spots, but they're always happy and they're a good price point. Next, I want to do my Advent socks. So this is the project I've started. And so far I have to go open today's color later. But this is 24 rows. Yesterday I said stitches, 24 rows of the first color, which was almost the entire little mini bobbin of yarn. And let me show you, here, let me show you this finished here. So basically what you do, and I probably should have got sock blockers and been proper, but oh well. But basically what you do is each day the stripes get a little bit shorter, which is kind of nice, which is why I start with the biggest one. I guess technically I should probably do December 1st, one stripe, but who wants to be doing 24 stripes on Christmas Eve? So I'd rather go the other way. So basically what you do is you go 24 rows, and then you go 23, 22, 21, and then you start the next set and you go 20, 19, 18, 17. And you just repeat that all the way down the foot. I mean, honestly, if you're a row or two off, it's not going to be a big deal. I always like to do a contrast cuff so that I can match them when they come out of the wash. And then I typically will do that same color on the heels. And then the toes, honestly, like as some of these went on, I started using like the last color on each one as the toe. But you could do either way with the proper, you know, the same contrast color on all three, and that looks good too. Sorry, I can't talk today. These are Molly of a Homespun House. This is one of her advent calendars from a couple years ago, and you can see like, the colors are gorgeous. I mean, I love these jewel tones, and so a couple years old, and they still look pretty good. This one is Clark and L from a couple years ago, and you can tell, I guess, different advent calendars, and it's I don't know. There was trends over the years of having them be kind of more like a unified color palette versus being kind of 24 different colors to being different fades. And that's kind of one of the challenges of finding advent calendars that you like. It's like what your expectations are. Like if you're knitting a scrappy blanket, random colors can be really nice. But if you want something that actually looks a little bit more cohesive, so I don't know. That's one of the things I learned over the years of like when I was shopping for advent calendars, is trying to think a little bit about like, do I like the other yarns that they typically dye? Am I looking for something that's a gradient? Do I want something that is just crazy fun, or do I want something that it looks like it has like a plan? And so that's something you have to think about when you look at advent calendars. This one is Hedgehog Fiber Arch, or Hedgehog Fibers. I think is it last year or the year before? I can't remember. And the same thing. I have a lot of this yarn left over from this project, and honestly, and I'll show a different day. I'll show some of my blankets that I do with the leftovers. But I like this because you get to play with all the yarns, and then the rest goes in a blanket. Is typically what I do. I will say that this yarn does bleed, and I found that out the hard way. I was using one of the skeins that I wasn't crazy about the color to tie off some hand spun, and it bled onto the hand spun. So, oh well. But pretty colors. I mean, they're bright. They're happy. The leftover yarn will become some kind of project. And here are my oldest pair. This is the original pair, and I feel like this is a good example of like how different yarns hold up. I like wearing these socks because I feel like they're good in boots. They're good over leggings. They're good on a cold day. But like this top yarn is Knit Pick Stroll, and like Knit Pick Stroll, and you can see how well it holds up. I mean, it's just budget yarn, and it looks awesome. This stripe is an opal, and it looks brand new. This one is brown sheep wool, which is like from a clear out sale at a local yarn store that probably is no longer in business, from where I used to live a long time ago. And like you can just kind of see some of the different ones, like the Knit Picks yarn. Although this is also Knit Picks, and it looks a little bit fuzzier. This is like a hand dyed from somewhere, but you can just see like over time socks do get kind of grungy, but that's kind of like a fun like look through of my sock drawer. Got tons of socks in there. Tomorrow, my plan is I'm going to pull all of my sweater and shawl projects that I've used advent calendars on and kind of show some of those. And then I think later this week I want to pull some of my hand spun skeins that I've used from hand spinning advents, and then some of the blankets I've used. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed a quick Vlogmas video. Look through my stash. I'll look through my sock drawer. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.